Moving on to our next panelist, Yorien has been with RAI Amsterdam since 2015 in different roles, from operations manager to sales manager and to now an exhibition manager. In 2017, Yorien joined the Rematec team, and in these years, she's become a familiar face in the global remanufacturing industry. Yorien leads the Rematec trade show portfolio, which is the world's largest remanufacturing industry platform, and hosts the largest remanufacturing industry expo in Amsterdam every 2 years. She has been involved in the organization of now 4 Rematec exhibitions, 2 in Amsterdam, 1 in Las Vegas, and 1 in Asia. Additionally, Rematec News is the leading news hub for remanufacturing professionals worldwide. It is an independent online news channel with views and developments within the remanufacturing industry. Welcome, Yorien. It'll be great to hear about your experience and specifically the developments that you have seen in the remanufacturing industry through your experience with the Rematec team. Welcome, Yorien.
Thank you, Saloni, for your nice introduction. And thank you, of course, Recreate, for inviting me to this webinar. I will give you a short presentation. Both Cheryl and Vaishali have already explained to you what remanufacturing is. So I will explain a bit more what Rematec is, because of course that's the company where I work for. First, a bit on myself. My name is Yorien de Ruijter. I'm the Director of Remanufacturing Events at RAI Amsterdam. RAI Amsterdam is a convention center in the Netherlands, where we host more than 500 events a year. In the normal times, of course, now we are completely closed, unfortunately. Rematec is one of these exhibitions, and we host an exhibition in Amsterdam and in Asia. If we're looking at the Rematec in Amsterdam, previous year we had our 10th edition. It's every 2 years we are hosting our event, and at the event we really try to bring together the remanufacturing industry. We focus on auto parts and components, so it's more focused on the automotive industry. And what we do is we try to network, educate, and creating a show floor. What we have is we have around 300 exhibitors that is joining us every 2 years, with a total square meters, what you see on the screen. And what we also do, we have an innovation lab where we show all the innovations that are going around in the industry. For example, in 2019, we had a complete robotized area where you're seeing robots doing remanufacturing. We also would like to share knowledge because we still believe that people must be educated in remanufacturing. The awareness is not always there. So therefore we have a Rematec theater where we explain the latest trends in the market. We have an international conference on remanufacturing, which is joining us every 2 years. We actually had it 2 weeks ago in an online version, and this is where researchers present their papers about remanufacturing. Also, normally on the show, we have technical workshops, especially now that you're seeing a shift to more the electrical or the battery pack remanufacturing. We create workshops around that. In remanufacturing, it's very important to network. It's good that you know a lot of people. Therefore, we are also creating a couple of networking events during the Rematec. We have 3 listed here below. Of course, we are not organizing the event ourselves with RAI Amsterdam only. We really try to include the partners, people that are involved in remanufacturing, and therefore we have quite some support by associations, which we have quite a lot of contact with often in the year to see, okay, are we on the right track? Do we have the right innovations? Do we have the right networking events? And you see here a list of the associations that are included. MERA is also on that list, so Cheryl and I work together quite a lot. Then we have now, since 2 years, we also organize Rematec Asia. We have moved to Asia because the remanufacturing industry is growing there enormously. They are actually started in 2008, and they are now almost on the level of what Europe is doing concerns to remanufacturing. And what you see, and why has that been such a large growth? That is because the car sales increased enormously in China, and after a couple of years, and of course cars get in warranty, and then remanufacturing takes part. We are now in the last October, we had the second show of Rematec Asia. Unfortunately, I was not able to go there because of COVID-19. I was not able to travel to Asia. Therefore, it was a more national show which we had. The third edition will be in October 2021. Again, it's a bit of a question if international people are able to visit the show, but we are going to see if we can have an online show next to the national China show. Then we have something new. Normally we have physical shows like Amsterdam and Asia. However, of course, the world has changed tremendously the last year. Therefore, we are going to organize an online event, which is called Rematec Live and Connected. There are two concepts. There's a concept live and there's a concept connected. And the concept live is that exhibitors are able to present in our RAI studio. So we have created a kind of television studio where exhibitors are able to present. But also there is a connected part, because there is a matchmaking system behind our platform. It's not just a webinar, like this webinar, where speakers are sending. However, the people are also able to communicate back and start one-on-one group meetings or group meetings or whatsoever, and that is able to be done before, during, and after the event. Then if you'd like to know more about Rematec, you can always go to our website and sign up for the Rematec e-newsletter, where you will be updated about Amsterdam, China, but also about our newest event, which is Rematec Live and Connected. I would like to give the word back to Saloni.
So much, Yorien, and it was really, again, encouraging to hear about your experience and especially Rematec's work in the remanufacturing industry. We'll now start with some quick questions generally on the industry. Vaishali and Cheryl would request you to have your videos on. Great. So as we sort of, dig deeper into understanding the potential of remanufacturing, Vaishali, I would like to sort of, start with you. What, in your view, would be the potential of the reman industry in enabling a global transition to a sustainable and circular economy?
Yeah, I think for remanufacturing, the practical approach is to achieve the resource efficiency and operationalize the circular economy. And this has been also, highlighted in the Indian government's think tank, and that is Niti Aayog. And this is really close to India, because India is a very huge populated country. And by nature, remanufacturing is a quite labor-intensive actually industry. So this has a really high potential for the countries like India, to really create a more and more awareness and get benefited to this. And as we saw through the presentations and all that, and we will also discuss, definitely remanufacturing brings actually, from the business point of view, very high, I would say the high profits, and they are, as we are working on the existing material, because we are not, producing the new component. It's the existing components that you actually, like provide the salvage recipe and bring back to the new specification. Hence, the cost is actually low. And then all sustainability initiatives that we talk through, that like consuming less energy, consuming less water, there is a less greenhouse gas emissions, and also the less waste to the landfill. Okay, because this is also the huge issue actually globally that we are facing out. So remanufacturing, if you see, is really the out to out. I would say it is giving the benefit, and definitely, last but not the least, is the customer satisfaction. Because if my engine is down or if my equipment is down, the remanufacturer or the companies like remanufacturing companies, they keep the remanufacturing product off the shelves, so that your downtime will be either zero or less, and you can actually bring back actually your equipment or engine to the operation with the actually recon product or remanufacturing product. So that's a really great advantage, I would say, into the nutshell, that whether I see a really great potential. And it's not just India, because apart from the population, I think the rest of all the benefits, they are really across the globe as far as the remanufacturing is concerned. So definitely there is a really high potential, and we need to work through that, creating more and more awareness, and how we can actually have more and more remanufacturing companies and attract actually government and other industries associations also involved into this initiatives.
Got it. So I think, Vaishali, you made a very valid point that remanufacturing is actually a much demanded perspective, both from the supply side as well as the demand side, right? Those people who are sort of engaged in the production side in the remanufacturing, as well as those who could be the potential users. And this could lead to a global transition to a circular status. Thanks very much, Vaishali. Cheryl, moving on to you. You were talking about, how you are ensuring changing, from a perception to a reality status in enabling remanufacturing. So Cheryl, in your experience, what are some of the barriers to adoption of remanufacturing, and what may be some of the enablers in overcoming it?
Well, I think one of the biggest barriers is just awareness, and just people understanding what it is and getting the word out about what it is and the benefits, and getting consumers to understand. Again, it goes back to that perception versus the reality. I know before I started at MERA, I had really no idea about remanufactured, and I think there is still that perception that it's something less. It's not as good. People always want the new. So the awareness that the remanufactured product may in fact be better than new, because when you remanufacture, you have a chance to tweak some of those things that may have been defective, or upgrade them. So there's that, and then there's always the value. If there's a lesser price, that's attractive. But then that environmental piece is huge, and it's going to be more and more important, as time goes on, that you can buy something that has less of a carbon footprint, and that is better for the environment. So I think the biggest barrier is awareness, and how we enable that is just coming together as an industry, and it's education, and it's networking, and it's being in your communities and social networks, and talking about what it is and why it's so great.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I think you sort of touched upon a very important point, which is, lack of awareness. And I think how these events that, Recreate team is conducting can only increase the awareness on remanufacturing and its potential.
Can I add something
yes,
to that? Yeah, I absolutely agree with Cheryl that awareness, and especially I think in Europe and the USA, is the biggest challenge. If I explain to someone what my job is, they don't know. You always need to explain what you're doing. However, if you look at other regions, for example, in China, then they are a bit, just a couple of years back from the USA and from Europe, and there you have some other challenges. So, for example, the rules and regulations. because their remanufactured parts or the cores, what we need to remanufacture, are still seen as scrap. So they're not able to import and to export these products. So there are some kind of different challenges than that you may see in Europe and the USA. Not sure how the case is in India, but I think Vaishali can add on that. And also quite a difficulty is the return logistics, so getting the cores back to the remanufacturer, because again, a core is seen as scrap, so people just tend to throw it away, say, we don't need this anymore. So that's quite of a difficulty for remanufacturers to get their the cores back to be able to remanufacture.
Vaishali, would you also like to throw some light on India? Yes, please.
Yeah. So definitely on the barrier side, like definitely the awareness is there are like few global companies like Cummins is doing, I guess Volvo, GE, they are there. But I think overall, this is really, if you see, it's a repair dominant actually market. So quality consciousness and like remanufacturing actually like awareness is really needed. And at the same time, the another like some of the barriers is as like the like anti-dumping laws, or like as Yorien mentioned about the reverse logistic, how we can get the core, because normally in the domestic market, like we know we struggle to get actually the cores back. So these are some of the challenges that we face actually these barriers. And not only that, this some of the time the skill set requirements also, because we'll discuss maybe in coming actually questions if at all we touch on that. But the skill set also required as good as the first fit actually product, any new product. So the skill set, upgraded skill sets is very much actually essential into the salvaging actually also engineering, which is currently little bit have the perception that, okay, this is a heavy industries and just a labor intensive work, and they're not using actually the latest tools and techniques, which is not actually the case. That should have been, that should be changed actually over the period of time.